And the last video for scientific notation, you need to have on page 29. So for this video, please put this on page 29 in your journal. And at the top of the page, please write divide scientific notation. So we've given a few examples on adding and subtracting when we have numbers in scientific notation. We've done a video on multiplying, and now we're going to do a short video on dividing numbers in scientific notation. So here, let's do our first example. We have 8 times 10 to the 7th, okay, again in parentheses there, divided by 2 times 10 to the 3rd. Right? So we look at our numbers up front. We have an 8 and we have, we have an 8 and a 2. So we have this 8 and that 2, and we're dividing. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Times 10 to the, this time, when we divide exponents, we are actually going to subtract them. 7 minus 3 is 4. When we divide exponents, we subtract. 7 minus 3 is 4. I'll show you in the next example how that works. Right? So put a line underneath that, and then we're going to do a second example. Again, make sure you have all of that. Alright, so here's an example. We'll show you how this one works, and why it works like that with the exponents when we divide. So 6 times 10 to the 3rd divided by 3 times 10 to the 2nd. So again, we look at our first numbers here. We have 6 divided by 3. Right? 6 divided by 3 is 2. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Times 10 to the, and again with our exponents, when we divide, we actually subtract them. So 3 minus 2 is 1. Okay? So let's see how this works like that. Alright, so let's take 6 times 10 to the 3rd. Times 10 to the 3rd, positive 3, decimal is going to move 3 places to the right. So this is going to be 6,000, right? We have a 6, 1, 1, 2, 3. And we're going to divide that, right? First in line, goes inside, by 3 times 10 to the 2nd. So positive 2, decimal is going to move 2 places to the right, which equals 300, right? 1, 2, we've got 2 spots. So 6,000 divided by 300. If we think way back to our division unit, right, we have a 0 here that we can cross off. We have a 0 here and a 0 there. And now we do division. Does 3 go into 6? Yes, twice. Bring down the 0. How many times does 3 go into 0? 0. Our answer is 20. And 20 is written 2 times 10 to the 1st. Okay? So exponents are subtracted when we divide. All right, draw a line, put a line underneath that one again, please. And we've got two more things to talk about, so let's see if we can make sure that you put those on page 29. All right, so here's the third thing with dividing scientific notation. So please write this. You might see it written this way. Where it looks like we have a fraction, okay? But remember, this is another way to write a division problem. 4.8 times 10 to the 8th divided by 1.2 times 10 to the 6th. So we start with, right, we start with this first, okay? 4 and 8/10. So I'm going to do 4 and 8/10 divided by 1 and 2/10. Thinking back to our rules, we have a decimal here in the divisor. We need to move it one spot to the right, make the cheek, and we have to do the same thing to the decimal on the inside. Okay, right, make our matching cheek and bring it up, and then we divide. Does 12 go into 4? No. Does 12 go into 48? Yes, it does. It goes 4 times. 4 times 12 is 48. Subtract 0, nothing more to bring down, no remainder. So it's 4, right? 4 times 10 to the, now remember, when we divide, subtract 8 minus 6. 8 minus 6 is 2. And this is right for scientific notation because the decimal would be here, so we're good. Right? Put a line underneath. That one more thing, one more example. And last thing, 3 and 6, 3.6 times 10 to the 5th. And we're going to divide that by 5 times 10 to the 3rd. Okay? And what does that equal? 3 and 6/10 times 10 to the 5th divided by 5 times 10 to the 3rd. So again, we start with this, right? 3.6 divided by 5. So our dividend, our divisor. Is there a decimal on the outside? No. But there's one in the inside, so we move it up. And we do division. Does 5 go into 3? No. Does 5 go into 36? Yes, it goes in 7 times 5. 35. Subtract, we get 1. Okay, anything more to bring down? No. We have this remainder, but we can't put R1 or put it as a fraction, so we add a 0, bring it down. Does 5 go into 10? Yes, it goes 2 times. 2 times 5 is 10. Subtract, we get 0. Nothing more to bring down, no remainder. So we have 0.72 times 10 to the, when we divide, we have to subtract 5 minus 3. 5 minus 3 is 2. But the decimal is not in the right spot. Okay, it's not in the right spot. So we need to write that in standard form first. So this exponent is positive. It tells the decimal it's going to go 2 places to the right. Okay? Right? We have to write it in standard form. Positive 2. So 1, 2. The decimal is going to go there. Which that then is going to be 7.2. Okay? Remember, we change it to standard. then scientific. Goes here, 7 times 10 to the, it's going to move one spot to the right. Okay, so this and this are the same number, they equal the same thing, but we have to write it in scientific notation with the number behind the first digit that is not a 0. I know it might be a little confusing, seem hard to figure out first, but we might get to a few examples later in class and in our packet, and we'll talk more about that. And like always, make sure you have all of this in your journal.